So I think with that, oh, I had introduced myself. I'm Juliet Murimi, again, in charge of the Social and Political Pillars Directorate. And yes, your moderator for the show. So I think people can take their positions. You're suggesting we start with water resources management? Here. Then show the panelists. Slides. Okay. We were supposed to do presentation and resources hours here, round two. Yes. Right now. Here. Here. They're doing opening remarks. Yes. 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 And then I okay. Sawa. So where will I sit? Because the cameras are set.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be going live on our Facebook and our YouTube videos. I don't think I've missed any other information. Anybody else would like to partake in the conversation? We'll also be taking questions from some of the audience. The audience that is watching us from the offices or at home. With that, I think we have one emergency exit on this side in the event of an emergency, just right outside the entrance. And there's one at the extreme end of the corridor. So I don't think you have to get rushed. For now, I think we can let Juliet start us off, and we can officially start the program for today.
Okay. The population to understand what Vision 2030 is all about. In particular, we want to focus on the water, environment and sanitation sector today as we look towards celebrating the World Wetlands Day on 2nd February 2024 in Russia, Uasin Gishu County. Our topics for today will include conservation of wetlands and forests. We'll also include management of resources, water resources. So we have actors from different state institutions. We have actors from the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA. We have actors from the Water Resources Authority. We have actors from the Water Sector Trust Fund, the Kenya Water Towers Agency, and we have representation as well from the Kenya Forest Service and the all the environmental water and sanitation sector implementers are part of this program. So to start us off, we would want to invite the Director General, Vision 2030, and the Director General from Water Sector Trust Fund to make a few remarks as we start with the discussions for today. Karibuni sana. Feel free, engage, and let's converse.
I'm the CEO of Water Sector Trust Fund, and perhaps just for your information, Water Sector Trust Fund is one of the parastatals within the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. We are happy to see one of our sister institutions here represented, that is WRA. DG, we want to appreciate and laud this initiative at this critical moment of our country, that we are very innovative in the ways in which we do things. Firstly, we as Kenyans who have been there for some time know that the trajectory of planning in this country has been really shaped by this institution to give the targets together with the performance contracting has really transformed the public sector from what it used to be before. I think this is majorly, the transformation started majorly after 2002, where we all agree that the attitude and the performance of the public sector. The Act which is has established us has properly positioned us to be in a way that we can deliver to Kenyans. DG, I'm proud to say we work closely with the WRA, we work closely with the NEMA in most of our programs and even other players. With Kenya Water Towers, there have been attempts for us to initiate projects together, and we believe with that level of cooperation, Kenya will get value for resources that we are paid in terms of salaries and allowances. Thank you so much. I believe we'll be able to discuss more as the time goes per the program. Asante sana.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jambo. Those of you who are in Ruwaza Center and those of you who are online, very good morning to everybody. Thank you for making time to tune in. The reason why we're here today is to start a new partnership where government and citizens are able to engage a little bit more intimately, so that we discuss the issues which are affecting this country. By way of brief background, I'm very grateful that my brother is here, Willie Sombai, CEO of Water Trust Fund. This is one of the major financing institutions, parastatals, under the Ministry of Water. And we are here to try and see whether we can explain what we've done so far, what is planned, and also let you know what is working in Kenya and what is not working in Kenya. And the idea is that we get together and find solutions together. There's too much complaining going on, too much whining, too much complaining. Not enough ideation, not enough innovation, not enough putting heads together, not enough problem solving. So this initiative is an initiative to solve problems together. Nobody has all the answers. His Excellency the President, the Deputy President have all been telling us, put your heads together. If you have a better idea than we have, please bring it. So this is an avenue where you bring a better idea than we already have. As you all know, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And that's why previous governments created, previous administrations created Kenya Vision 2030. Kenya Vision 2030 is what tells us generally where we are going. And if I may give an example, we're in Nairobi today, for example. If you want to go to Mombasa, you are generally expected to be on the A109. Is that true? That road, Mombasa road is called A109, yeah? So if you want to go to Mombasa, the generally most effective road, way of getting there by road, there are many ways of getting there by road, is A109. So if we find you in Garissa, yes, you're heading towards Mombasa, but umekosa njia kidogo, tunakwambia rudi hivi kidogo tafadhali. Yeah, you're doing well, but Mombasa is that direction. So that's the work of Kenya Vision 2030 and the work of any vision institutions. It is because every day when we wake up, public servants go and work every day. We go and serve Wanjiko every day. But how are we serving Wanjiko? And is Wanjiko being served by our effort? So it's important to have a national plan, and that's what Kenya Vision 2030 does. We have only 7 years left, about 7 years left to the end of the plan, 6.5 years left. So it is time now to look at what we have achieved, take stock of what we have done, look at what is left from what we wanted to achieve, take stock of what is left, and then figure out creative and innovative ways of getting there. And the reason we have to be creative and innovative is because we don't have the luxury of big unlimited budgets. We don't have the luxury of big unlimited budgets. And there's a limit to which government can tax to raise revenue. So what that means is that we have to use the tax shillings we have more intelligently. We have to use them more creatively. We have to use them more innovatively. If previously 100 shillings of taxpayers' money used to give a result of 10 or 20 or 30, we now have to make the same 100 bob give a result of 50 or 60 or 70. And we do that by leveraging technology, first of all. We leverage technology. And then we also leverage generation, what comes after Generation Z? Generation Alpha. Generation Zs and Generation Alphas. You are the owners of this country. All the people who are below 25. Are they any in the room? How many? Raise your hand. Below 25. You're the man of the moment. You, sir, are the man of the moment, okay? You are sitting here representing the biggest stakeholders in this country. The biggest stakeholders in this country are your age and below. You are like 75 to 80% of all Kenyans. People like me and my brother here, we are in the minority, which is very soon going to the villages and mind our business there. So what we're doing right now is thinking very seriously about the needs of this generation. The people who are 30 years and below, what are their needs? Are we going to continue keeping them in employment where they wake up, so many vijana, mwisho wa kusoma? What does the future have? The future has jobs which you create. Jobs which you create. Services which you provide. The future belongs to problem solvers. Future belongs to problem solvers. So what we're doing here is bringing ourselves together as government on one side, as citizens on the other side, and as CBOs on the other side, Wanjiko and her representatives, who are not government and who are not on the other side. So what we want to do here is to have an open conversation. And we're not here being defensive. Tell us what is not working. Tell us where we can improve. Tell Water Trust Fund where they can improve. Tell NEMA where they can improve. Tell Warma where they can improve. Say in my village, Gekiyero village, somewhere, this needs to happen because of 1, 2, 3. And then you take it up with the counties. So this is a very open forum. Please don't feel censored. Feel very free. But also, let's talk about facts, yeah? So to not remove the complaining from somewhere else and bring it here. So as I finish what I'm trying to say, we are meeting today under the social and political pillar, which is where water issues come from. And as you know, water is life. Is water life? You yourself, wherever you're sitting, you're 70 to 75% water, you yourself. So water is very important. We cannot live without water. And water is life. So this is why we decided to start with this particular initiative on water, is because we're also celebrating the World Wetlands Day next month, which is coming up. And the people spearheading that initiative are here in this room. You'll be hearing from them. And what we want to do is to make this forum a regular forum. So please be tuning in regularly, check what's happening, engage with us. And the beauty with Kenya Vision 2030 is that the entire government meets in this room. The entire government meets in this room. So any concerns you raise at Kenya Vision 2030 will find their way to the right ministry or to the right parastatal or to the right institution for action. So without saying very much more, mine is just to welcome you. Please have an open mind, feel at home, relax, and let us ideate. Think, let us engage the mental gears, and let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this particular moment, I want to invite Mr. Moluwato to take the floor. There sits just next here. Tell us a little bit about your institution and the major achievements under the flagship project that you have witnessed.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is...
It's okay.
My name is Molu Wato from the Kenya Water Towers Agency. I am the Acting Director for Ecosystem Protection, Rehabilitation, and Conservation. The Kenya Water Towers Agency is a state corporation under the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry, created through a legal notice in 2012. Legal notice number 27 of April 2012, conservation and sustainable management of water towers. So probably just to give a meaning of water tower, some people might be wondering what a water tower is in our context. It's not that still, water tank that people normally know. This is a natural watershed, water catchment, elevated as that other one, the artificial one, but then with the capacity, the morphology to be able to capture rainwater, to allow it to percolate into underground streams, aquifers, so that then we acquire the ecosystem service of water from these natural water catchments. So we have several water towers in Kenya, 5 major that we know, and about 15 others that were gazetted when the agency was established. We are in the process of identifying so many others. So that is a brief of water tower. We do contribute to the social pillar of Vision 2030 through forest protection and rehabilitation. Most water towers are natural forests, so we coordinate together with our sister agencies, Kenya Forest Service. Some of them are parks, so Kenya Wildlife Service, NEMA, because of the overarching mandate of conservation. So we have, through the Vision 2030, it has given us a vision to be able to focus on these natural watersheds, water towers. We have been able to rehabilitate about slightly above 500,000, 600,000 hectares of natural forest. We've been able to fence, we have fenced Mau, about 30 kilometers, electric fence. Aberdare has been fenced. Part of Mount Kenya has been fenced. Kakamega is also been fenced. 15 kilometers is already done. So this will help in natural regeneration because sometimes we've done through tree planting, but fencing is even more effective in terms of allowing natural regeneration. When you exclude or reduce the anthropogenic activities within this natural forest, then you allow it to recuperate, to regenerate, to be able to gain its characteristic of water catchment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Molu. We will get to NEMA, and as we come back, now that you have told us about 500 to 600 million hectares having been rehabilitated, maybe you'll be able to give us the data on the tree cover and forest cover, because Kenyans may have contradicting figures on what is our achievement to date on forest cover and tree cover. We'll get back to you. I want to ask NEMA, Elmi, to introduce yourself and tell us what progress we have made. You've been tracking implementation of conservation and protection of water towers. You can tell us major gains.
Thank you very much, Madam Juliet. My name is Isaac Elmi, Head of Department for Marine, Wetlands, and Terrestrial Ecosystems with watersheds, also as part of it. And some of you may wonder why do we have similar title. As we are the overall multi-agency coordinator to bring ministries, departments, agencies, and county government with environment and natural resource protection conservation together. Where the need be, an intervention is required to save a natural resource in a particular environment, we have the powers even to invoke and bring on board even the KDF so that Kenyans' natural resource or green capital infrastructure is protected. The right to clean and healthy environment is Section 3 in EMCA, but it's in Article 42 of the Constitution of Kenya, as read with Article 69 of the Constitution of Kenya. So, as is to bring all government agencies, departments, and ministries together. So, for example, when we have a particular issue with the water pollution and riparian, we closely work together with our WRA, WARMA, formerly WARMA. When we find a particular issue in a forest, we bring on board Kenya Forest Service, KEFRI, and Kenya Water Towers. We work them together. Where protection of wetlands is required within a protected area, we directly go for and work together closely with KWS. So we are very specific. Apart from that, we also work with partners, civil society, the individual citizens that has got an interest. Of course, I know that Kenyans 100% have interest in environmental protection conservation. Necessity is the mother of invention. Less than 1,000 metric cube per person per year, per capita that is. Where is the problem coming from? Impact of climate change, prolonged droughts, ruthless water pollution into the little available water that's available. Then escalating actually increased population, demand for water. And that is why we have to wake up and work 24 hours around the clock. When we find 1 liter of water is polluted, actually we should be grieving because the water is not enough. And the little we have is under direct attack from pollution. The way forward, NEMA came up with a program or a strategy or a guideline that is zero tolerance for waste, whether it is ordinary garbage or plastics. Plastic was banned, and we have challenges from mogoka sellers and also what they call sugarcane, small sellers, because they peel, put in that package, then sell it to the people. Please don't buy a mogoka or maybe sugarcane cut into pieces containing polyethylene paper. The sources are from our neighboring countries, particularly Somalia. Somalia is a country that is recovering. Institutions, legal and policy framework are not intact. They are part of East African community. They need to be brought on board and assisted with capacity building so that enforcement on their side is up to standard. The boundary from Lamu up to Mandera must be secure, and this can be done through government-to-government collaboration. And therefore, that is the biggest threat that we have. So far, we have come up with some initiatives, the best practice to restore catchment area. I wish to invite everyone to visit a place called Mayanat Community Conservancy in Laikipia, around Doldol there. We have introduced a technology that barren land can be converted into flourishing ecosystem that supports what we call the dependence there, livestock, human beings, and all that you have, even wildlife. Water scarcity. Once we conserve such kind of the water catchment, of course we work closely with Kenya Water Towers, we work with KFS, we bring on board Carefree because we have to be guided by science. All this working together. When I say NEMA, it's not NEMA absolutely doing it. It is NEMA working with these vital government agencies.
Thank you.
Laikipia is a good place to go and visit for yourself. A good technology, innovative, and what we call highly relevant. The discharge level that has come about in terms of water aquifers, our sister departments, Warma, can tell us, we have made a progress. Go to what we call Kalacha in North Horn. All government agencies that are involved in that intervention should be proud. We are proudly telling you that we have recovered 200 acres from Chalbe Desert. Can you imagine that desert? You can recover land from desert. It has been done. The water aquifer, which was 14,000 metric cube per hour, has moved and shifted up to 84,000 metric cube per hour as we speak. That's a place to go. Go to north of town. 2 places were rehabilitated. 0 water source in the first place. But now the entire town depends on those 2 water springs.
Thank you very
Our strategy is this. Highland, wetlands, water towers, protection is not negotiable. Come to the vulnerable counties. Springs protection is not an issue of debate. It's a priority, life and death, for the wildlife and livestock and the communities that depend in other areas. Then the other one we are pushing for now is water harvesting. We have our water harvesting authority. Very soon we are going to engage on them.
Get back to that.
Then from there we are coming to that. As at now, we have listed 10,000 wetlands across the country. we complete with the GPS. The budget to conserve and protect adequate. We're expecting on the exchequer. Exchequer gets money from taxpayers, me and you, our payslip, pay what we pay per month. It's not sufficient. We have come up with a new initiative. Adopt a wetland initiative model for this country so that our ministries, departments, agencies, and county government lead the way in adopting these babies called wetlands that require urgent protection to ensure sustainable water supply for this country free from pollution. And in that case, we expect WRA to be in the driving seat to lead the way. And therefore, we can talk the whole of today. Our priority natural resource protection, it is sufficiently available. The tree growing that we have the 15 billion target. I can assure you from my calculation, we can double it. But what we require now is, let us not leave conservation to the exchequer. Adopt it ourselves. Individual, community, civil society, partners, government agencies, take up your babies. 10,000 must have parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Adopt the wetlands. I think I want the feedback on what is the difference between tree cover and forest cover so that Kenyans watching out there are able to differentiate. And maybe, Mr. Director Molu, you could tell us the status where we are. And you could also say something. I think you're a key implementer of the 15 billion initiative. Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Juliet. Yeah, the difference between forest cover, to begin with, and tree cover. Forest cover is defined, we are adopting, of course, the international definition. We're adopting the FAO. It has to be a pure stand of trees, you know, at least a canopy cover of 10% according to FAO. We've taken 15% as a country because we look at our context. And that area of canopy cover must be at least 0.5 hectares. So it has to be 0.5 hectares, the canopy cover of at least 15%, and these trees must be at least 2 meters high. So that way, then we can say that that's a forest. So any other tree, the sparsely populated trees, you know, patches, standing alone, those are trees now. And as when we take census of trees, like we do for people, then that makes tree cover. We have, as a country, a forest cover of 8.83%. The Constitution talks about 10% tree cover. Mm-hmm. Sometimes tree, sometimes forest, but 10% tree cover. We have surpassed that. We have a tree cover of 12% at the moment, and that has remained there. So we need to focus effort to protect what is there in the conservancies, through community engagement, through fencing, through rehabilitation, so that we achieve this. We are producing as an agency, we are contributing towards availability of seedlings. We are producing seedlings through nurseries with community groups, with government institutions like prisons. We have had MOUs. KFS is putting up, revamping its nurseries all over the country so that then we have seedlings available. The challenge has been sometimes where are the seedlings? So we already started seeing fruits of these efforts. We made a deliberate effort of coming up with, you know, distributing polythene bags for seedling production. As a ministry, at one point, we focused so that all these institutions focus on that. So we hope to achieve the 15 billion by the year 2032.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Molu. And on that note of having everybody getting involved, bringing everybody towards the national initiative, because it's all about us as Kenyans, coming together and focusing on one goal, the objective to achieve needs collaborations. And we have the actors on the ground, we have non-community, we have community-based organizations, we have non-government organizations, and for this particular week, when we are celebrating the World Wetlands Day, we have representatives from the Green Earth organization. Madam Sheila Koech, I want to give you an opportunity to tell us how are you intervening in this environment sector, and how prepared are we for the national celebrations?
Thank you so much, Julie, and thank you so much for having us today here. My name is Sheila Koech. I'm the founder of the Green Earth organization. The Green Earth organization is a community-based organization that was created in 2017. So we are roughly about 7 years old. And what we've been doing, our key mandate is actually on environmental education, ecosystem restoration, and community engagement. Yeah, so what we've been doing is we've been working with communities, schools, and what I can say we've done mostly is that we've worked with close to 100 schools, roughly 80 to 100 schools right now since 2017. And we've been involving them in ecosystem restoration initiatives such as tree planting. And what we are aiming to do right now, since last year, is we've been planning to work with the Ministry of Education to see to it that we can introduce something called environmental clubs in schools, so that we are able to move forward these initiatives of ecosystem restoration, so that we can have schools having their own tree nurseries, so that they can supply these seedlings to the communities. Then in terms of community engagement, we've been working with the communities as well in planting trees in open spaces, especially community spaces. If, for example, a community hospital has space and they want to restore some bit of it, then we work with them. Yeah, so basically that is what we've been doing. And we've been able to also reach to a lot of people on the ground to change their perspectives on their use of ecosystems.
World Wetlands celebration, and really what made Narasha come out as a key area for visiting?
Yeah, so first of all, in terms of preparedness, we are really ready to host you people. We are ready to host the nation at Lake Narasha. Lake Narasha is a natural lake which was formed, I can't say how many years ago, but it's a natural wetland, freshwater wetland. It's one of the lakes that is found in the highest points on land. Apparently, it might be the second one coming after the ones found in Mount Kenya, because Timboroa is one of the highest points that people inhabit on land in Kenya. Yeah, so Timboroa, Lake Narasha has been undergoing a lot of destruction lately, and this is due to what Elmi had said: population pressure, our overexploitation of the natural resources. Again, there's the lack of knowledge on why this resource is here and why it is very important for us. So all these factors combined can lead to really loss of habitats and ecosystems. So this lake has been facing a lot of siltation issues because, again, due to population pressure, people have been cultivating very close to the water. So when the rain comes, this soil goes into the water, and then siltation takes place. And then owing to the fact that, again, it's along the highway, along the Nakuru-Eldoret highway, this is A104, there's a lot of pollution from the vehicles that use this road. So this is, again, one of the factors that has led to the destruction of this ecosystem. Then, of course, the rampant cutting down of trees, as we all know, leads to a lot of ecosystem loss. So all this combined led us to say that we really need to involve many people. We really need to involve the people, not just the people around Timboroa, but the people of Kenya and any other people who are interested in restoring this ecosystem. We need to involve the ecosystem into its initial state. Yeah, if you look at the maps of Lake Narasha, you will find that the water has really receded. It's less than 50% now, where we can only see water. About 60% of the entire water area or water mass that used to have water is covered by vegetation. And this, again, I think I attribute to siltation. So that is the reason why we really push to have this ecosystem restored and probably have this celebration take place there.
Very good. Thank you very much. And over to Mr. Mwangi from Kanko. Please tell us, what are the community initiatives you are having as we wrap up this catchment, and tell us whether what you have implemented has worked and whether it can work elsewhere.
Yeah, thank you so much for this particular discussion and also an appreciation for all my colleagues and also everybody that we are participating with. And I want to acknowledge my colleague from Green Earth because we are also co-hosting the World Wetland Day at Lake Narasha, actually. As CANCO, I want to speak about the Water and Wetlands Department, which is a partnership between three global organizations: International Crane Foundation, which looks at crane conservation around the world; Endangered Wildlife Trust, which looks at ecosystems that are endangered and species that are endangered; and Community Action for Nature Conservation, CANCO, which looks at community participation in ensuring that we have the right ecosystems and we appreciate the contribution of the community. So, and I want to speak about the World Wetlands Day for this particular year. So why is it in Uasin Gishu? If you look at the key species that International Crane Foundation works on, which is the gray-crowned crane, Uasin Gishu has the highest population of cranes in Kenya. When we did the 2023 census, we had around 8,300 or about cranes in Kenya, of which around 2,300, or roughly around 23%, are in Uasin Gishu. So if you look at globally, Kenya being hosting almost a third of the population of cranes in Kenya, and Uasin Gishu hosting 25% of that, it's quite significant for that.
A third of the population of cranes in the world?
In Kenya.
In Kenya?
In Uasin Gishu.
All right.
Yes.
Cranes are birds?
Cranes are birds, and they are endangered. They are endangered, meaning in the last 40 years in Kenya, if I speak about it, there were 40,000 or about. Right now we have 8,000. So we have lost 80% of that population in a span of 4 decades. So if you look at the next two decades, if we don't reverse that, we will not have cranes in Kenya.
Very good.
So why wetlands? Why is it important? I was actually intrigued when people were talking about forests in looking at carbon sequestration. I want to tell everybody right now that wetlands actually have a significant carbon sequestration and carbon storage than than forests. So if you look at wetlands, they store almost a third. They almost store 3 times carbon of what forests do. So if we had 30% of forest cover, that carbon sequestration only requires 10% of wetlands. So we really need to reverse that conversation, that it's not only forest, it's not only about trees. Let's look at forests. Let's look at wetlands. And the theme for the World Wetland Day is healthy wetlands, healthy people for this particular year. Because when there is wetland for the communities, they get water, they get access to water, they get flooding prevention, they get a lot of those effects. So I don't want to speak so broadly about it, but really I would encourage everybody to get into the nitty-gritties of what wetlands actually do. Thank you so much.
Very well. Thank you very much. Audience, you could clap for the panel because we're just about to get into the next panel. Thank you very much. That was very informative, and we are still engaging, even after we have done the second session, which I want to now invite the Water Resources Authority. I also want to invite the Water Sector Trust Fund to come on board and take the positions. We will still continue engaging, even when we are still in the room, if you feel, and thank you very much. Clap for them, again, as they And clap for the new team as they get into their seats, as we usher them. Water Resources Authority, Water Sector Trust Fund, yeah, we may have Kanko on the other side. Yes, and I want to go very straight, and I think I'll start with the Water Resources Authority. Please, Director, introduce yourself. Tell us about what your institution has done, and tell us what is, according to you, a very major achievement that you feel Kenyans should know about.
Thank you very much, and Madam Juliet, the moderator, taking this opportunity also to thank the audience and also to appreciate my colleague who is accompanying me here. My name is Ruben Gesa from Water Resources Authority. I am the head of surface water within the institution. Just to talk about Water Resources Authority, this is one of the parastatals within the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, whose mandate is to regulate the management and use of water resources in the country, formed via the Water Act 2016. The mandates of the authority generally is to apportion water resources in the country. Apportion, you allocate the water to ensure the citizens get access to potable water in the right quantity and quality as envisioned in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. To do this, Water Resources Authority assesses the resources, both the surface water resources and the groundwater resources, for their quantities and the quality. The Water Resources Authority also manages the catchment areas, protects the catchment areas together with other stakeholders and the communities. So far, Water Resources Authority has done a lot to discharge its mandate and in line with the social pillar of the Vision 2030. We have designed and developed a comprehensive water resource monitoring system within the country that entail surface water monitoring stations, groundwater monitoring station, water quality monitoring stations that give the data to enable us allocate the resource and manage the resources promptly. We have also strived to modernize the monitoring equipment. We have modernized the monitoring station. Subcatchment management plans entail the issues and the problems within the subcatchments. Subcatchment management plans entail the issues and the problems within the subcatchments, and then the solutions. Once the solutions have been brought out, we get partners so that we can implement the activities that would restore the catchment, would enhance the access to potable water. And I would wish to say that Water Resources Authority looks at the water resources nationally. It's a national body working in all the 5 basin areas in Kenya. If I say basin areas in Kenya, I'll be talking of Lake Victoria Basin, which for management purposes, we are having 2 basins, the Lake Victoria North and Lake Victoria South, divided by the equator. And we also have the rivers there and the sub-basins therein. Then we have the Rift Valley. All rivers flowing within the Rift Valley are categorized and are managed centrally. We have a basin there. Then we also have the Athi Basin area, so we manage the entire of Athi Basin area. That is one of our regions for management. And then Tana Basin area, all the way from the headwaters in the Mount Kenya, Abadeas, to the ocean. And finally, we have the Wasongiro North, spanning from the Mount Kenya, the Abadeas, traversing the mid-basins, mid-counties of Isiolo, and then Wajir, and into the Somalia. So that is the scope of work that WRA does. And we have had a number of projects. But as the moderator said, going forward, there are game changer projects that we envision. One of them is what we call Horn of Africa Groundwater for Resilience Project. This is a World Bank funded project and operates in the Horn of Africa countries. And for Kenya, we have 5 counties. We operate in the 5 counties of Mandera. They are ASAL counties of Mandera, Garissa, Turkana, Wajir, and Marsabit. And the project is aimed at restoring the aquifer or the groundwater sources. The study of aquifers has already been done. We have done the study of aquifers in the northern part of Kenya, and the potential areas have already been mapped out. So this project is aimed at managing the recharge areas, aquifer recharge areas within those counties, in order to avail water to the citizens. So a number of projects, for example, sand dams, projects that would avail that water would enable the aquifers to recharge, managing the aquifer catchments, and also drilling explorer counties. Then we have the Mid-Tana. Mid-Tana, the landscape is the confluence or where the counties of Kitui, Garissa, Tharaka Nithi, and Isiolo converge. Sabarwawa is a landscape where Isiolo, Marsabit, and Samburu counties converge. These areas are areas that traditionally people used to graze. They are areas that used to have water for the livestock, to take water and also to graze. But then over the years, due to climate change, due to anthropogenic issues, the areas are no longer serving their purpose. So the project aims at restoring back these rangelands so that they can be used by the community and livestock. So that's another project that we see that would come a long way to impact the communities. The 20 project targets to benefit 400,000 people within the areas and restore about 500,000 hectares of land within the rangelands.
I think that is a lot of information. When we come back to you, you'll be able to tell us how many Kenyans, what population is able to access clean water, because that has been a big question that people have been asking. I want now to have a discussion on the funding, and I want to come to the CEO of Water Trust Fund, Water Sector Trust Fund. Tell us, what are the funding interventions? Because water, as he has said, water is life, yet we are struggling, and we want to know, what is the intervention? Has our funding base been able to help us in this problem? And you could also tell us a brief about the Water Sector Trust Fund. Benson, could you just kindly pass the mic? Yeah. Karibu sana.
Thanks, Juliet, again for inviting us, and also to my colleague from Water Resources Authority. I had given a brief of Water Sector Trust Fund. Basically, we are established under the same act as WRA, that is Water Act 2016. And Section 113 talks about us with the mandate of financing, working closely with the counties to give conditional and unconditional grants, especially for the marginalized areas and the underserved areas. which basically, when you look at Kenya, that constitutes a very significant percentage of the country. There are statistics, obviously, on where we are in terms of sanitation reach, where we are in terms of water coverage. But those, I believe, they're available depending on the source. In summary, Water Sector Trust Fund does three functions. We look for resources, we resource mobilize, and then we have mechanisms for financing, then we do monitoring and evaluation, basically to establish whether the finances that we have given out or disbursed have been used accordingly and there is value for money in the utilization of the resources to implement projects which mainly go for sanitation, water supply. We have county capacity building. We have also issues of water resource management, as well as research. Though the component of research, we have not really started financing, but we have developed the instruments which are required to start that. I know in response to your question is what have we done? So I will just quickly delve into the achievements that we have made. In terms of resource mobilization, because that is a key result area, we have managed since inception to mobilize around 37 billion. So we pride ourselves. I know a lot of us, Exchequer, but we are one of those institutions that provide relief to the Exchequer. And I know WRA is here, and we have an arrangement of financing, because they help us to do the technical work in terms of supporting the implementing agencies or the grassroots agencies that we work with, like water resource users associations. And under that achievement, I'll just break it down to what is the impact. With out of the 37 billion, we have received close to 27 billion. You know, they are running contracts or agreements, so you might have not received some money. So what out of the 37, we have received close to 27 billion. And out of that, we have used to reach about 7 million Kenyans that have experienced some change in their lives due to the resources from Trust Fund. Out of that, we have, Geza talked about the subcatchment management plans. We have supported more than 500 subcatchment management plans working with different RUAs. And we have also, through those, done about over 3,000 individual projects across the country. Just like WRA, we are also a national institution, which means we work throughout. But we appreciate the role and the mandate given to us, and also the provisions of the Constitution that the county governments are responsible for water service provision. So that is why, even in terms of mandate, you heard me talk about what we are doing with the counties, because they are the ones, so we work closely with them. The second achievement, we are proud winners of 2 UN Public Service Awards.
Congratulations.
Maybe we are not just good at making noise. I think the first time the award was won in Kenya was when the High Excellency Anne Waiguru was the Minister for Public Service. And you remember this was through Huduma Center. So for those of you who might not be very clear of what UN Public Service Award is, it is what Huduma Center that really was a technology called Decentralized Treatment Facility, and this manages to support sanitation or wastewater management in our facilities to the water companies for development of infrastructure which then leads to better service delivery and improved access to water and sanitation to the populace. Maybe just to wind up, what are some of the flagship projects that we have mentioned, we are doing currently. One, we have commercial financing. And under commercial financing, just like I've said about OBA, we are output-based aid project or program. We are working with water companies to improve their access to water. Currently, under a program financed by KfW, we are really working with 6 water companies, a few of them, Embu, Kisumu, Kakamega, Imeda, Nyeri, and Naivasha, and Muranga South, to have financing from commercial banks which are ranging up to a maximum of 150 million so that they are able to access financing. Recently, there's a program we are also developing with the World Bank which has been signed by their board. About 8 billion Kenya shillings is a bigger program, but what is coming to WSTF will be around 8 billion. The overall is
Billion.
Yes, the overall is a lot of money in around 19 counties of Kenya. It's called Program for Results, Performance for Results, which is more of disbursements linked. There's DLI kind of program where you achieve something and then you are given certain advancements to do projects of your choice. Apart from that, we have other flagship projects for rural water and sanitation. And here we are currently implementing 2 projects or 2 programs. One is EDE SIPRA, Ending Drought Emergencies, a climate proofing infrastructure project, which is being supported by EU, but undertaken in 8 counties of Kenya. This Mandera, we have Kitui, we have Kilifi, we have Taita Taveta, we have Baringo, Samburu, we have Kajiado, mostly in Asal County, around 5th of August this year. On the same note, Danida is also supporting almost a similar project with almost the same kind of investments. And these are in 6 counties of Garissa, Isiolo, Lamu, Tana River, Marsabit, and I don't know which one I'm forgetting. There are 6 counties. In some of the counties, you will find they have more than one program. And lastly, Horn of Africa program is a huge program implemented under the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. And it has several components implemented by different agencies. While WRA is focusing on groundwater, according to our mandate, we will be working with project implementation units in the 5 counties of Marsabit, Turkana, Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa to do borehole rehabilitations, to do reticulation, to do solarizations and the actual rehabilitations to make sure that the groundwater, whatever they will have found out in the studies, is implemented. And this is also around 8 billion. So if you look at what we are doing, I think in the water sector, we are really aligned in terms of working to achieve the social pillar. The question is, how far or how close are we to achieving the SDGs, the targets under the social pillar? But I think we have been very compliant, DG, in terms of diligently submitting our reports on a quarterly basis under the performance management program. So I think that would be good enough for now, as I give you the opportunity to
Yes, that is very good. I
Thank you.
like the simplicity in which you're mentioning billions and millions. You know, you're saying that's another 8 billion, and it's not little money, but it goes a long way in unlocking, because we all know how project financing has had a challenge in terms of where do we get the money. The idea is the night of the World Wetlands Day, which I'll ask Sheila and Elmi to just give us a brief of the preparations and yes, in terms of just describing the program. So Beryl, over to you. Tell us the power of partnerships in your work. Yes.
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you to my colleague who I think highlighted most of the areas that WRA works with. With regard to partnerships, I'll talk about the Ruwas. The Ruwas are a major partner for us. And as our CEO here has mentioned from Trust Fund, that he helps to fund the Ruwas. I want to mention that we have a new it's a platform for Ruwas. It's called the Kenya National Rua Association. This Kenya Rua is where all Ruwas from all over Kenya.
What's a Rua?
A Rua, yes. A Rua is a water resource user association. So these are community-based organizations. They are formed by the communities. We capacity build them. They register with the AG. They have a certificate. They are an institution on their own. Okay? So these Ruas, they help us to implement catchment activities. Whatever Green Earth had mentioned that they do, that's also part of what our Rua do. For them to do that, they need funding. That is where the trust fund comes in. The trust fund comes in, gives them the funds. They prepare a sub-catchment management plan. That is exactly what they use. It's like their Bible or their Quran. Okay? So that's what they use to implement the activities within their catchment areas. So what WRA has done is we have formed a national umbrella, RUA, for all of them, where they can come, register, all their voices can be heard from that one place. So that is a milestone for us as an institution. That's why we have measured in mainly on partnerships with the communities on the ground. We call them our grassroots institutions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are down there. If you have not joined RUA, we have maps, RUA maps. They're in our website. Those maps you can, where we know each and every one of you come from somewhere. If you go to our website, you can get the map where the RUA is. You can get your location. You know where it is. You get to know the committee members who are there, and you can be able to join. So that is one of the areas we have partnered with. Of course, the Horn of Africa, the CEO from Trust Fund also mentioned that. One thing I want to mention is that it's also cross borders. It's transboundary. It goes up to Ethiopia and Somalia as well. So I think that's it. And perhaps the one I would really like to stress on is the advanced water meter infrastructure. This is a system that we have. Right now, if you want to apply for a permit, previously you had to fill in papers. We know how government is, but through the flagship projects, we have embraced technology. So you can go to our website, you can go to eCitizen, you can apply online. And within a few stipulated days, you'll be able to get your permit. The other one is that we've talked about catchment areas a lot, and most of our catchment areas are degraded. But what WRA has come in as a regulator, and most of you may be privy to Ondiri Wetland, we have gazetted it. We have put the papers, the management guidelines there with the AG, the Lamu groundwater conservation area, the sand dunes. Lamu, as you may know, the only source of fresh water in Lamu is the groundwater. Okay? So that we have gazetted. And 10 other areas. There's Dik wetland, we have gazetted as well, and many others. The Nairobi Aquifer Suite, we've also gazetted it. It's one of the areas that gives Nairobi the groundwater. We have boreholes in Nairobi, but we have the Nairobi Aquifer Suite. How are we going to manage the groundwater in Nairobi? So, yes, I think that's what I can talk about. We're also partnering with the police. We have the water police unit to do our enforcement in our major areas. So when you go for enforcement, you may face some hostilities in the ground, but with the water police unit, they really assist us as we do our enforcement. So thank you, Juliet.
Thank you very much. Hand it over to Mwangi so that you tell us is Kanko having a community partnership with the Water Resources Authority in any way?
Yes, thank you, Juliet. I want to acknowledge my colleagues from the government because we are actually working with all of them. So in terms of water, because Kanko, one of the Kanko and ICF partnership, one of the pillars is access to clean water. So in particular in Uasin Gishu, for example, and Nandi and Trans Nzoia, we have been working with the Water Resource Authority to protect springs, whereby they have been doing funding based on access to the ecosystem goods and services. And then and also Kanko is also linking up with provision of clean water using the solar energy, whereby we are providing communities with Solar 10, which is a solar technology whereby you have, if you have water that is not healthy, you put it in a container and then you expose it to sunlight, and through the solar system, it's cleaned, and then the output is a clean water. So you don't have to have access to wood, the wood resource, because of the tree cover reduction, because one of the biggest problems we've been having with tree cover is because the community needs it as a wood fuel. So Kanko is embracing a technology where we are using the solar system to clean water. So instead of boiling your water using wood fuel, then you actually use the solar energy panel, whereby you then get access to clean water. So I'm happy to say that as a non-state actor, we are actually partnering, and my colleague did speak about the partnership. And it's only the way that both the government and the non-state actors can actually come together and ensure that we actually achieve the three pillars, because it cuts across the three pillars of the Vision 2030, the political, economic, and the social pillars. It does cut across all the three of them.
Very
so
good.
thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Pass over the mic to Elmi from where he's sitting, so that Elmi, you can brief us what is the preparation for the World Wetlands Day, and pass it over to Sheila so that she can also tell us how ready they are, as we finally usher the DG on this side to come and do the closing for our show today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you. Please remember to follow on our social media handles. We are live on YouTube. We also have our Twitter handles running the show, and also on Facebook. And we are also encouraging you to just continue tweeting. And I was waiting for questions or reactions. I have not seen any hand. So that tells us that we are well looked with the information that we have gathered here. So over to you, Elmi.
Thank you very much, Madam Juliet, for giving me the second chance. World Wetland Day celebration is on. The National Wetland Celebration will be done at Narasha Wetlands. On your way from Nakuru to Eldoret, it's on your right side, just on the road, 300 meters. When you're coming back from Eldoret, for those who are heading from Eldoret side, it's going to be on their left side. It's actually halfway at Timboroa. And that is a national celebration. World Wetland Day was also celebrated across the country, 47 counties. Preparations are in top gear. Our county governments have taken the lead. Technical, organization support is given by NEMA and all the government institutions based in that, in that particular county, as well as the partners, civil society, individual Kenyans, including shopkeepers, even market operators, have, one way or another, contributed, even donating water towards achievement of that celebration. It is on. World Wetland Day will be followed by World Environment Day. It's going to be 5th June. Then it's going to be followed by also 17th June. We are going to have World Day to combat desertification celebration across the country. These are three global events that Kenyans need to have in their diary so that they don't need to be reminded. Kindly, everybody should pick those three dates: World Wetland Day, every 2nd of February, World Environment Day, 5th of every June, World Desertification Day, that is 17th of June every year. They don't need to be reminded from this. This should be an announcement to all of them. They budget for it also a little bit. For those who are intending to adopt wetlands, they should come to NEMA, because working with the County Security Committee and the stakeholders, we will be able to help you with the technical backstopping. Otherwise, this is a voluntary. Most of the people say, oh, this is a national government function. No, it is a Kenyan version. It's a Kenyan function. Anybody who is a Kenyan citizen holding an ID card and holding an allegiance to this nation, and whoever lives in this country, legitimately, have an obligation to participate, because it's a global affair, it's a global issue, it's a global agenda. So we call upon everybody to take part in his own way, in our own way, to ensure that these World Wetland Day celebrations across the country is well participated and well taken care of. In future, don't say we have not gotten communication from NEMA, from the ministry. Please block those dates for your regular events. Otherwise, so far, madam, proudly, Kenyans have adopted 10 wetlands as we speak. Kenya Water Towers, they have adopted Gitwe. Ondiri, together with the friends of Ondiri. National Environment Tribunal, Dig. Wairura, wetlands in Moranga, was adopted by National Environment Complaint Committee. Many are coming on board. And therefore, we still have so many communities to adopt. Vision 2030, I'm sure they will have their babies very soon. And therefore, without any further ado, I thank very much for all multi-agency with environment mandate. We have achieved a lot where we are, and therefore we are setting the pace for Africa. And therefore one day, Kenya will be rewarded for the conservation that have started. Adopt a wetland initiative globally. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you once more, Julie. Before I can say anything, I would like to welcome all of you to another build-up activity on the 1st of February. We'll be having a Timboroa Forest Run at the Timboroa Forest. This is aimed at sensitizing the community and everyone else about the importance of wetlands and why we are celebrating World Wetlands Day in Timboroa. Yeah, so you are all welcome if you will make it. If not, next year we'll still do another one. So this is being spearheaded by the Green Earth Organization, and that's why I take this opportunity to invite all of you. Then in terms of logistics, Mr. Elmi has, I think, mentioned most of these things, but I'd just like to mention that Timboroa is very cold. So when you come there, be prepared with some warm clothes. I know it's January or February, it's normally hot, but Timboroa is cold anytime, even if there's sunshine, it's always cold. Yeah, in terms of the program, Madam Julie, with the lead of NEMA, we are still finalizing on that. We will be able to share once it is ready. Yeah, so you are all welcome to Timboroa. Thank you.
At least that's an invite. So, I mean, she has offered to host us, so we should plan to visit and enjoy the forest and do the run. We'll try to be there. We will make an effort to be there. We can also commit to be there. Thank you very much. I think as we come to a close, now that there's no reaction, have I locked anybody who wanted to add a comment or anything? Looking around in the room, I do not see any reaction to the presentation. So I thank you very, very much, our audience. I also thank all the institutions presented here. I want to thank each one of you for having sacrificed your time and for having even done the research. I had received all your papers with very many questions that I had asked. Thank you very much. It is good for us, and this is our country. We are the ones who will share the information. Let's appreciate the work we have done. Let's appreciate what gains we have already made. So looking forward to the next engagement forum, I want to invite the DG to do a closure and yes, tell you if he has plans for Ruwaza.
Asanteni. How is everybody? Those of you here and those of you online, there are quite a number of people online. Gava iko ground. That's the message you're passing here. Gava iko ground. And the responsibility of building a better country belongs to all of us. We people who are currently in government, I like to say currently in government because we don't die in government. You come, you serve, you leave, okay? Right now we are serving, and we will leave. So it's our responsibility to make Kenya better while we can. Because when I leave this office one day, I don't want to go home and complain. I wish I had done, I wish I had improved, I wish I had improved this or that or the other. So it's our joint responsibility. We want to be having these sessions once a month. A month from now, we'll meet again, and we'll be discussing ECT and access to government services. ECT and access to government services. That will be under the Enablers Directorate. So we have a month to raise all the issues you want to raise about the roads, about the bridges, about all the physical infrastructure we have, about ICT, about our Silicon Savannah. Are we still a Silicon Savannah in Kenya? Are we? Or is that something which, a label which we held 10 years ago and then we're still having it? Are we still the world leaders or Africa's leaders in ICT? So that's what we want to discuss. What are the problems? What are the challenges? Generation Alpha, people, Generation Z and Generation Alpha, 30 years and below. What are your issues? What are your issues? What are your concerns? What are you getting so far? What aren't you getting so far? What is government getting right? What is government getting wrong? Tell us. Come here and tell us. So to stop complaining on Twitter, it's called X now? We stop complaining on X. We stop complaining on Facebook. We stop complaining on TikTok. We stop complaining everywhere because we like to complain. This room is for problem solvers. This room is for thinkers and innovators. So if you have an issue, if you have an idea, if you have a thought which can bring or move Kenya forward. Today we're discussing about water. What can NEMA do better? What can WARMA do better? Who should Water Trust Fund be funding who maybe they're not seeing? It is you to tell us. Because as government, we don't know. You tell us as Wanjiko, and then we implement what you're saying into policies, programs, and actions which improve our lives. So feel very welcome. This is your space. All of you, whether you're in this room or you're not, own this space. It is open 24/7. No, we close at 5 and we open at 8 p.m. 5 p.m. and we open at 8 a.m. the next day. But between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., this room is available. Please contact us. If you have something, if you have an idea, if you have a concept, if you have a proposal on anything in this country which can improve things and move us from A to B, or move us from 6 to 7, or move us from J to K, please come and talk. Asanteni sana. Have a